All right, thank you, Alyssa, for that introduction. I appreciate that. So we are going to be continuing the work with correlation and making a scatter plot. So the first thing when I look at this data is we have information about roller coasters. And when it says drop in feet, you guys, if you've ever ridden a roller coaster, if it has a very tall hill or drop, the first thing you do, you're like, woo, let's go! And then you just wait as you slowly go up. All right, so that height of the first drop is what they're talking about here. Okay? Then the duration is how long the roller coaster lasts until you come into the same position and you stop. So it's in seconds. So if you notice like the Magnum 2000, 120 seconds, that's a 2-minute ride. Okay, so 120 seconds, that's a 2-minute roller coaster ride. All right, worth it for waiting in line for 90 minutes. All right, so let's go ahead and make a scatter plot. I would like to highlight drop and duration. I'm sorry, just having? Yeah, that's the whole ride. Okay? Insert. If you remember from yesterday, what am I going to insert? Recommended charts. And if you click recommended charts, it should immediately recommend for you the scatter plot. So I'm going to hit OK, and we should have our scatter plot. Now, for my purposes, since you guys are looking at this on the projector, I'm going to make it larger, but don't feel like you need to. So first thing I like to do is I like to change the axes. So I like to eliminate any space that is unnecessary. If you look on the x-axis, it goes from 0 to 350. What is our lowest height of our drop? Our lowest drop height? Our lowest. Our lowest looks like 86. So what would you like our minimum to be? 80? All right, 80 or 85. No, it doesn't matter, Diana. If you want to do 85, go for it. So right-click any number that's on the x-axis. I'm going to right-click 200. So right-click, format axis, and we decided to make our minimum. I'm going to make mine 75. Now for the maximum, mine adjusted to 325. If yours didn't, that's what I'm going to leave it as, because the Millennium Force has the highest drop of 300 feet. It's the tallest one. That is, I have ridden that one about 15 times. It's pretty fun. It's in Cedar Point, which is in Sandusky, Ohio. I do like roller coasters, yes. What's up, Heidi? I put for the min 75 and the max, I put 325. All right, now again, it's not a huge deal if you change it differently. Let's go to the y-axis. Let's go to the y-axis. I'm going to right-click 200 on the y-axis. Format axis. What is our lowest time? 65 seconds. So shall we do 1 minute, 60 seconds for the min for time? Let's do that. What about for our maximum? It says 240. I'm gonna do 250. But Alyssa, if you want to do 245, that's fine. 60. Because I saw the maximum was 240. So I like 250. It seems more rounded and even. 225? No, not 225, because if you do 225, you're not going to catch the nitro. 225? I don't know why you keep saying that. 250. 250 is what I'm doing. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and do, I'm going to type into my title. All right, I'm going to double left click into my title and write down a new title. I think that drop height explains duration of, spell duration, right? Duration of ride. Again, that's probably more words than I need. But ultimately, I'm trying to tell you that I think the height of the first drop will help explain how long I expect the ride to take. And my thought is the longer you have to wait to get to the top of that hill, the longer the ride will be. That's what my thought is. Okay? You guys know from yesterday that I would like to add an x-axis label and a y-axis label. So if you've clicked on the chart, you should have chart tools. All right? I'm going to click chart tools design. You click chart tools design. Then go to add chart element at the far left for me. I don't know where it is for you. but add chart element, I'm going to add an axis title. Where it says axis titles, I'm going to do a horizontal one. Our explanatory variable, our variable on the x-axis, is going to be the drop height. So I'm going to put drop height. Now I'll put the units of feet. Now I'd like to make that a little bit larger so I can see it, so I'm going to make the font size 16, but it's up to you. Doesn't matter, Pablo, whatever size you want it to be then. Great. Now I'm going to keep on my chart tools, design, same process, add a chart element, but this time I'm going to add the axis title for the vertical axis, the response variable. So I'm going to hit primary vertical and type in duration. And I like to put the units in parentheses. And again, yes, I'm going to change the font size to 16. Units of seconds, correct. Now, I'm going to pause 30 minutes for station identification, 30 seconds for station identification. I want you to check with a person next to you to make sure that you guys have the same stuff when it comes to your Scatterplot. Look at each other's computer screens, ask questions about it. Make sure you're checking with your partner. That's why you're seated next to someone, to make sure you're all good. Charlie, can you see Caesars? You already checked it? Cool. All right. Good up there, Alyssa and Lexi? All right. Gilberto, you guys good? Okay. Everybody okay? Pablo, you good? No. All right. Now, we have just made a scatter plot. What three things must I reference when I describe this scatter plot? Direction, form, and strength. Direction, form, and strength. Yes, it's in your notes. Yes, we talked about it yesterday. Okay? Direction, form, and strength. So for direction, do we think this is a positive or a negative direction? When I look from this, I see bottom left. Is it kind of moving somewhat positive? Okay. So I'll go ahead and write down in that blank slide. There is a positive, comma. That's for direction. What about for form? This is where you would say linear, non-linear, curved.
I think curved.
Curved.
Yeah, non-linear. Because it's all over the place. I don't think it's non-linear.
I think it's, here's the thing. I heard somebody say all over the place. First off, you can say whatever you would like, right? It's your decision. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a cloud, because I still see somewhat a positive movement. I think what is having an issue for you guys is that when we have a couple of roller coasters that might be unusual, like the one at the very top, that has the drop height is not the tallest, but the ride takes the longest. See that one at the top? And this one over here is the longest ride. I lied. It's not the longest ride. It is the highest height, but it's not the longest ride. So that's really what's making it confusing. I'm going to say linear, but I'm just going to, what am I going to say for strength? I'm going to say weak. I'm going to say weak. So you can write whatever you would like, but I'm going to write there's a positive linear weak association between, and what are my two variables? Drop height and duration of roller coaster. Again, you don't have to write linear, guys. If you don't write linear, that's fine. If you wrote curve, not linear, that's fine. This is what I'm writing. It's what I think. Oh, we're almost done, Alyssa. Almost done. Then yes, yeah. So on the test, again, as long as you, the only time I count off points for you having something different than me, all right, obviously if it's like an exact number, then yes, that's wrong. But if for when it's your opinion, if you don't contradict yourself, then I give you full points. Like, for example, on one of the questions for the last test, it was talking about what center and spread should we use for this histogram, and it was showing skewness. So some students wrote, you should use median and IQR because it's unimodal and roughly symmetric. That's contradicting yourself. So I took out points for that. Okay? So just think of it like as long as you don't say the wrong thing in terms of making yourself wrong, then you're not going to get points up. All right? We have a quiz on Tuesday. Well, we're doing a Kahoot tomorrow for a grade. All right. Are there any questions on this? Giuseppe, please put your camera down. Thank you. Now, for the second part of this, I wrote what word for the form? I wrote what word for the form? I wrote linear. And the reason I wrote linear is because if I think that these are quantitative variables, which they are, they both have units, I think it's linear, it's showing a linear relationship, then I can go ahead and run a correlation coefficient. So what I'm going to do is you need to go to File. Everyone right now should go File, Options, Add-ins, File, Options, Add-ins, and you need to go next to Manage Excel Add-ins and click Go, and make sure the very first one, Analysis Tool Pack, is checked next to the Go. There you go. The Go. No VBA, the very first one. Analysis Tool Pack. Analysis Tool Pack. Make sure it's checked and click OK. All right, so I'm going to hit Data. Once I do this, I hit Data. Then where do I go? Data Analysis. Very good. We are going to do correlation. So make sure you click correlation, then OK. Data Analysis, correlation. Again, this won't work if you don't add that analysis tool pack. So data analysis, correlation. Click OK. It says input range. I'm going to highlight everything that we just highlighted, including the labels. So then I need to make sure to click labels in the first row. Thank you. All right. Now, bless you. I always like to put the output in my worksheet, my current worksheet. So I'm going to click output range. Make sure to click the dialog box next to it. So you have the blinking cursor is in that box. And I'm going to click cell E1. It doesn't matter. Personally, I click cell E1, whatever you would like. Bless you. And then click OK. And this should give you the correlation coefficient. So do you guys see 0.352? So what letter am I going to write for that? What letter do I write for the correlation coefficient? Oh, somebody please remember from yesterday.
Wait, what?
What is the letter that we use for the correlation coefficient? R. R equals 0.352. Now, personally, when I see that correlation coefficient of R equals 0.352, that confirms my decision about the strength, that it's weak, because that is close, somewhat close to 0. All right, so that confirms a weak relationship. Oh, excuse me, a weak linear relationship. Chris. Okay. So that's why I'm recording. So you can try again or ask Natalie for help. Yes. So for strong, I think of anything usually above 0.8. 0.8 to 1. For moderate, I'm thinking around 0.5 to 0.8. Anything kind of below 0.5. If it's negative, it's the same rules, but negative 0.8 to negative 1 is strong. For moderate, negative 0.5 to negative 0.8. And then negative 0 to negative 0.5. And we'll go over that more tomorrow on the Kahoot. Giuseppe, put it down. Do you guys have any questions? Any questions on this? Yes, Dina. That's fine. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and stop the recording.